Good morning and good evening, everybody. My name is Faiza Alam. I'm a NetSuite functional consultant at BISP Solutions, and I welcome you all on the webinar series of inventory management. And we are on day 5. And in today's session, our major concerns would be inventory status. First, we will know about the inventory status. Then we'll be knowing about how the inventory can be transferred. There are two ways in the NetSuite, and what can be the scenarios in which an inventory can be transferred. We'll be looking at that. And at last, after the transfer of inventory, we'll get to know about the inventory reporting. So these are the topics that we will be discussing today. So let's start now. So first we'll take up inventory status. So each inventory item has a status that is associated with it, and we can manually change the status of inventory items and create new status for our own unique requirements or needs. Inventory status features enables us to associate attributes to the item in order to drive internal process. Like we can create an inspection status for items that are pending quality control and all. It can be created for categorizing inventory as available or unavailable, which will help in taking the appropriate actions. Inventory status allows the organization to distinguish between good and bad stock that is available or not available. If we talk about the basic level, so inventory status can be divided into two groups, that is consumed inventory and non live inventory. So if we talk about the consumed inventory, so consumed inventory is an inventory that is no longer in our possession, but records are still there for the purpose of reporting. And the status that is for consumed inventory can be, it can be named as sold, shrinkage, void, or damage. So this is about the consumed inventory. If we talk about the other type, that is live inventory, so this inventory is the inventory that we have physically in our possession. It means that we are using such a kind of inventory, and its status can be in stock, pulled, pending, restock, or etc. So these are the various kinds of inventory that are used in the business or the organization. An inventory status can be changed due to the arrival of some damage or and loss that is associated with an item. Like we have 20 units of any item in our warehouse and that are damaged. So in that scenario, we can change the status of such units from good to damage or any other thing, and this is done for the purpose, like such items and such units cannot be used for the purpose of selling it. So this is the main purpose for changing the status of any inventory. So this is about the inventory status. We'll go to the application to see how can we have how can we create an inventory status, and further how can we change it, then how can we view the changes in the status. So first we will know how the inventory status can be created. So for that we'll go into list, supply chain. Here we have the option of inventory status. So these are the status that have been created, and by default, the status good. Whenever we know open any of the record for the inventory status, so by default, good is selected. So these are the 4 or 5 statuses that have been created. Now I want to create a new one. I will click on new inventory status. So the standard form is already here. I will be changing its name. I have taken this not good name for the inventory status. So you can see that these boxes are checked, and this is checked for, if we want to make this inventory available for commitment, so we can check this box. And for the purpose of allocation and planning, if we want to make this status available, so we can check this box. So both these boxes are checked. If any description is required to be mentioned, so we can mention it. Now I will click on save. So here we can see that the status has been saved, which is named as active, sorry, not good, and this status is active. Here it is. So I have done with the inventory status. Now we have just discussed that at any point of time, some units or some goods gets damaged, and we do not want to use such products on our sales transactions. So we can, in that scenario, in that circumstances, we can change the status. And for changing the status of any item, we have to go into transactions, inventory. Here we have the option of inventory status change. So this is the inventory status change form. We can take today's date or it can be any other date also. So here you can see that the by default, the previous status that is selected is good here. Now if I go into the location, so here I'm taking this. Now I'm changing the status from good to not good. You can see that as soon as I have selected the location, the subsidiary already populates here. Now here we have to select the item that we want to change the status for. So I'm taking here this laptop T49, and you can see that the quantity that is available on hand for this is 195. I'm changing the status of 5 quantities. I'll click on OK. Similarly, as I have selected only one item, you can take multiple items here if you want to change the status. Some other fields are also. Now I will click on save. I have changed the status from good to not good. As I don't want this laptop T49 for 5 quantities to be used on any transaction. So I will click on save. So here we got the confirmation that our inventory status change has been successfully saved. Now these 5 units will not be using on any transaction as I have changed its status. I'll go into list. So here is the transaction that is for 8th of July 2022. So now where can we see these status changes? So there are many ways of which I'll tell you only two. So for having a look at the inventory status change, we have to go into the list. We have to go into the item records. So list, accounting, items. Here we have to select the item. It is, this is the one there who the status of which we have changed. So if we go into the inventory detail of this, so here you can see that the today we have changed the status for 5 quantities and we have selected the status as not good. So it is showing under the inventory detail. and it is for location Canadian 11 Canadian warehouse, and the status for 5 quantities is not good. So in this way, we can have a look of the inventory status on the item record. And the other way that we can, have a view of such inventory status. So we have to create a search for it. So for that, we'll go into list, saved search, all saved search and new. So this is the saved search record type. From here, we have to select this inventory balance. I'm changing its title. I want to make it available as public and as a list view also. So under the criteria, we have to take the location. We can take a single location, and if you want to take multiple locations, so we can select multiple locations. So here I am taking this Amazon Mexican warehouse and this Canadian warehouse. I have selected these two. I'll click on save. So I have set the criteria for location for these two locations. Let's see what is there in the results. So here items, bin number, location, inventory number, status. Okay. So now I will be reviewing it. So here we can see that for Canadian warehouse and Mexican office location, we have these status. And you can see that for laptop T49, the status that I have changed as not good is visible here for 5 quantities. You can see that along with this not good, we have other status option that is good and damaged. And those items which are using bins, so their bin numbers are here, their serial number and lot numbers are here. The quantity that is on hand, quantity that is available is also here. So I will be saving and running it. So in this manner, we can have a view of the inventory status change that we have done. We can check it by going into the item record also, or by creating a separate saved search also. So we can view the inventory status in this way. So this is about the inventory status. Now we'll move towards our next concern, that is inventory transfer. So inventory transfer refers to the distribution of inventory from one warehouse location to another. And if we are using multi-location feature, so we can record any move of inventory between locations while tracking the inventory. So if we talk about NetSuite, so under the NetSuite, we can have two ways for transfer for the purpose of inventory transfer. That is basic inventory transfer, which is also known as a one-step transfer, and the we can take the help of transfer orders, under which multiple steps are involved. So these are the two methods that are available for transferring inventory. So if we talk about the basic inventory transfer, so in inventory transfer, that decreases items in source location and increases the same in the destination location immediately at one step, comes under the basic inventory transfer. Let's take an example here, like, there is a location one and it has an order of 100 units. But but they have only 40 units in their stock. And after checking the stock at various locations, it is found that location 2 has 200 units in their stock. So in that scenario, we can enter an inventory transfer to move 60 units from location 2 to location 1, so that we can fulfill the order of our customers immediately or very quickly. So this is about the basic inventory transfer, because in this method we can simply transfer certain amount or certain quantity of units from one location to another. A basic inventory transfer changes the item count in both the locations in one step only. So this is about the first method. If we talk about the transfer order, so transfer orders helps us in managing the items that are moved from one location to another over a period of time. And transfer order is entered to schedule the movement of items and can go through an approval process. With this method, we can track each stage of the inventory transfer process. Like approved transfer are first we have to enter a transfer order, then we have to approve it, and when approved transfers are fulfilled by the source location, and finally the destination location receives the item, and then the items are counted in the location's inventory. So in this manner, various steps are required. For source location also there are proper stages, proper process that is followed, and for destination location also some forms are required to be filled. So multiple steps are involved in under the transfer orders, and also it takes a bit of time as compared to basic inventory transfer, in which we have to simply fill a form for transferring inventory, and we can make the transfer. But for transfer order, it takes a bit more time than the basic inventory transfer. So this is about the inventory transfer. Now we'll move to our application. And for that, we have to go into transactions, inventory. Here we have the option of transfer inventory. So since this is a since this is a single step or one step transfer, the rate is already been populated. The first thing that we have to select is we have to select the subsidiary here. So I'm taking Mexico. Now here we have to mention the from location and to location, that is the source location or destination location. So from location, I will be selecting here as Mexican office. And under to location, I will be taking this US Rocky Mount NC. Department class are, optional. Now, if I go down here under the item, so here I have to select an item for transfer, for the purpose of transfer. So I'm taking this one, hard disk 003. And we can see that the quantity that is available on hand is 5. So I will be taking here 3 quantity. Now you can see that it is asking for inventory detail configuration. Change the form. Now here we have to provide a serial number. Like this item, this hard disk 003 is using bin, so bin number is here. And status, you can see the from good to good status. But here we have only one quantity. We have to transfer 3. So again, I have to select a serial number. Another one. Okay. So we are done with 3 quantities. Now I will click on OK. Yeah, we can see that this check mark is here. It means that the inventory detail has been configured. Similarly, if I want to add another item for being transferred, so if I take here, this processor 005, it has 10 quantities available. of which I want to transfer to. Detail is to be configured. I'm taking this quantity from bin #008, that is 2. Now click OK. Now you can see that this detail has also been configured. Now I will click on OK. So I have provided all the necessary details. I have selected these two items for being transferred, and the location and the source location is Amazon US Mexican office, and this is the destination location to which these items are getting transferred. Now I will click on save. So here we got a confirmation that our inventory transfer has been saved. Total for hard disk 5 quantities were there, of which I have transferred 3, and for processor 005, the total quantity that is on hand is 10, of which I have transferred 2. If we go into the list here, so this is the one that we have created. So we are done with the basic inventory transfer or one-step inventory transfer. The other way is via entering the transfer order, and for entering transfer order we have to go into transactions, inventory, and here we have the option of enter transfer orders. So these are the various transfers order. I want to create a new transaction. I want to enter a new order, transfer order, sorry. So the order number is already been generated. Date is here. I will be changing the subsidiary from BISP UKHQ to Canada. I am taking here subsidiary Canada. Now again here, as you know, transfer is being done, so there must be some source location and some destination location. So here we have to mention the source location, that is from location, and destination location would be US location. I will be leaving this status as pending approval. So this formed, if we check this box formed, so the items that I will be selecting down, so these items will not be using for the purpose of reallocation. Reallocation we have discussed yesterday, like, if we have any orders committed, sales order that is committed but is not fulfilled, and suddenly we got another order from our promising customer, and we want to fulfill that order on priority basis. So at that time we can reallocate inventory from our old order in order to fulfill the new order. So this is about the reallocation. But if I check this box form, so the items that I will be selecting down there, these items will not be using for the purpose of reallocation. So I am marking it as formed. This is for, if the item cost is used as a transfer cost, so we can check this box. I am not checking it. The international commercial term that is using here is a delivery at place, is already been, selected by default DAP. There is department and class here. Okay, so the important thing, selection of item that we want to transfer. So here we have to take the item. Taking here this geo cables. for 5 quantities. And the difference here is here we can provide the transfer price as per our requirement. So I am providing here 1000 per unit. So now the amount has populated, that is 5000. We can see that the supply required date and the expected ship date is already populated. That is, sorry, 8th of July. Here you can see reallocate order item because I have checked this form box. So you can see that this field has been grayed out. It means that this item geo cables will not be further used for the purpose of reallocation. So here now we have to configure the inventory detail. We'll take quantity 5 here. Click add. Click OK. So we can see that the inventory detail has been configured. So I will be taking this geo cables only for the purpose of transfer order. I will click on add. So here you can see under the summary, we have the total amount that is for 5000. I have entered this transfer order for 5 quantities. Now I will be saving it. So as I have left the approval as pending approval, so we have to approve it in order to further proceed. Now, as I have told you just now that, this transfer order goes through various steps or processes. So there is an order fulfillment there from the, this order fulfillment takes place from the by the source location. And here we can see that the, source location is Canadian warehouse. So the Canadian warehouse has to fulfill the order. So I will click on fulfill. So this is the item fulfillment page. Here we can see that the source location is here. Item name, the quantity committed and the quantity that is used. Inventory detail or is already been configured as we have configured it while entering the order. So now we'll be saving it. So here we got the confirmation that the item fulfillment has been shipped. So for the transfer order, we are done with the first part as multiple steps are involved in it, but we are done with the first part, that is item fulfillment, that takes place by the source location. Now the item fulfillment has been done by the source location. We'll look at another part of this transfer order. So for that, we have to go into the transfer order because it is not yet completed. So the order receipt will be done by the destination location, and the destination location is US location. So the US location will be receiving the item. So I click on receive. Let me check the details once again. Okay. So I will click on receive. So this is the item receipt page. Standard receipt is here. Subsidiary. This US location is the destination location. You can see that no 5 have been committed and 5 are remaining. Inventory detail is configured. Now I will click on save. So the item receipt has been saved. Now it should have a status of receipt. So for that we have to go into the transfer order back. So now here the status that is shown here is received. It means that it is received. It has been received by the destination location, that is US location. So the item has been transferred via transfer order, and the destination location is a US location. We go into the list here. So this is the order that we have created. And one more thing that I want to show you. So the transfer order has been processed successfully. It has been fulfilled by the source location, and it has been received by the destination location. Like, but for any reasons, for any due to some reasons, if we want to close the order, so here we have the option of closing the order. If we click on it, so that order will get closed. So based on our requirements or needs, we can change we can close the order if we want to. So this is how the inventory transfer takes place in our NetSuite application. We have seen it from both the points, like from basic inventory transfer also, and from the view of transfer orders also. The transfer inventory transfer can be done by using the simple step is, why we have to fill a simple form for it, and we can immediately enter the inventory transfer. But for transfer order, it takes a certain amount of time, since it requires multiple steps to be done by the source location and by the destination location also. And at the end we can have the inventory transferred. So this is about the inventory transfer. We are done our with our second concern. Now our next concern is inventory reporting. So if we talk about the inventory workflows, so we have seen in our previous sessions that, with whatever stages, whatever processes are involved in the inventory management setup, they ultimately ends up with their reporting, whether it is purchasing or selling or manufacturing or fulfilling or replenishing, it ends with the reporting. So here also every, aspect of inventory requires certain reporting. So inventory reports are a powerful tool that we can use to assess inventory at all stages. We can view reports with inventory cost, stock levels, valuation, revenue that is generated, and profitability. It helps to identify the current stock status, items that are profitable or problematic. And in order to identify success and problems within each workflow process, we use this information so that appropriate actions can be taken by changing the processes that creates problem, or by maintaining the ones that has resulted into success for the business. And these reports information is further used to take actions for making required improvements. We can execute our inventory management in a more efficient manner when we take actions to make the required improvements. So this is the basic purpose for inventory reporting. As you know, we can have the detailed view of all our transactions under our reports. And there is another way, that is inventory assessment. And if we talk about the inventory reporting, so inventory reporting is based on the inventory assessment, and it can have two main goals. That is, inventory, it has been divided into two parts, that is inventory levels and inventory values. So if we talk about the inventory levels, so inventory levels helps to determine the level of inventory, or the quantity, like, or the things like how much inventory do we have. So if we can, have the proper levels, or, proper details of our inventory levels. And there are various reports with the help of which we can have the view of our inventory levels. So the first report that we have is stock ledger. Then we have physical inventory worksheet. Then we have current inventory snapshot. Then inventory backorder report. The another report that we have is inventory activity detail report. And the last report for assessing the inventory level is item pending fulfillment report. So these are the various reports with the help of which we can check the inventory levels. Along with that, if we talk about the inventory value, so it helps to identify the inventory value and profitability as well as the revenue that is generated into the business. Like, the overall worth of our inventory can be viewed under these reports. So by going into stock ledger also, like, inventory can be assessed as in terms of levels or in terms of value by going into stock ledgers also. So stock ledgers you can see is used in both the types. It means for inventory levels also and for inventory values also stock ledgers can be used. Then for evaluating the value, we have the inventory profitability report, and then we have inventory valuation report, and at last we have the inventory revenue report. So these are the various reports that are used in the NetSuite for the purpose of assessment based on levels and based on the values or worth. I'll be telling you about it in our application. So let's move on to the application. So in order to have a view of the reports, we have to go into reports, inventory and item. First, we'll look at what is stock ledger, which is the important report since it is used, for the assessment of levels and for the assessment of value of inventory. So if I talk about the stock ledger, so it shows activity for all the items across a period of time. Like it helps to identify the inventory items that are slow moving, fast moving, or overstock. Along with that, the stock ledger report displays what was the beginning count. Here we can see that this is the stock ledger report, and we can the first thing that we can do is we can change the periods from and to with the help of this from to option, or we can take the help of this quick filters, and we can change the subsidiary if we want to. Like this is for subsidiary Canada. If we want to take some another subsidiary, so we can take it, and after making the changes we can refresh it. So here we can see that stock ledger, has provided us the information that is available across the location, class, department, and subsidiary. Subsidiaries, selected as Canada. So the locations that are associated with this subsidiary are Canadian warehouse, US location, and these are the various items that have been associated with these with the subsidiary Canada. So there are various options available in the stock ledger that can be viewed. Like, here we can see that it has the option of beginning inventory quantity on hand. Like what is the quantity on hand at the beginning of the period. So here we can have the value of it. Then what is the average cost at the beginning? It can be shown over here. Then what is the inventory on hand value? So as I have told, levels and values can be assessed with the help of stock ledger. So it will know the on-hand value can be viewed from here also. Under the receipts, we have the sum of quantities on item receipts. Like there are certain bills between certain bills or certain item receipts or purchases that are there between the dates that have been provided. So these are all visible under the list. Here under other input, other inventory inputs, so it consists of all the non-receipt inputs that are added to the inventory. Like it can be for any if any positive inventory adjustment, positive inventory transfers are done, so their value can be mentioned over here. And this is the value of inputs that consists of any particular item. What is the last receipt date that can be mentioned. So as we have seen the purchase transaction. After purchase we have the sales transaction details, like how many sales have, oh sorry, how for how many quantities the sales have been made, and what are the other inventory output. So similarly, we can have just like we have seen the purchase related transactions. After that, we have the sales relating transactions, and at last we have the ending inventory quantity on hand. What is the quantity on hand that is available at the end, and what is its average cost at the end, and in ending inventory value, what is the inventory value at the end. So we can have the view of it. So the items or the units that have been associated with this subsidiary Canada, all of their purchase and sale related, what is the quantity on hand at the beginning, and what is the average cost, what is the actual value, what is the ending cost, or what is the ending on hand quantity, and what is the on hand value. So all these can be very well assessed with the help of stock ledger. So this is about the stock ledger. It is one of the most important report. So, based on our requirement, we can have a view of all the item records over here, their beginning and their ending quantity and all. And it can be based on the class, department, and location. We can change the filters as similar to other reports. It can be collapsed, it can be expanded. If we want to have a graphical representation, so we can have it. And if we want to export it into the Excel, PDF, CSV, or Word document, so we can do that. And if we want to have a print of it, so we can print it. If we want to email it, so we can email it. And if the business is using multiple accounting books, so here we have these two options. We can select as per our requirement. So this is about the stock ledger, with the help of which we can assess the inventory level and inventory value. The other report that we have is physical inventory worksheet. So for that also we have to go into reports, inventory and item, physical inventory worksheet. So if we talk about the physical inventory worksheet, so it helps in taking the physical count of stock. This report is a tool to maintain the accurate inventory records, and it lists all the on-hand quantities of inventory. Here we can see that the items, again, we have, if we want to change, this is for today's date. And if I want to change the subsidiary, like previously we have taken Canada, now I want to take Mexico, and I will click on refresh. Okay, so here we have the physical inventory worksheet for the subsidiary Mexico. So very few information is given, since this report lists all the quantity that is on hand. So for these are the various items that have been associated with Mexico, and if any preferred vendor is there, their names can be visible here, and the on hand quantity is here. So what happens when I print this physical inventory worksheet? So the physical count will be available, and we can easily compare both these quantities. And if any discrepancies would be encountered, or if we found any discrepancies between these two quantities, so we can adjust it as per our requirement. And we can adjust we can make the adjustment by going into the item record. So we can, compare the physical count and the on-hand quantity when we print this physical inventory worksheet. So at that time, the physical count will be available, and we can make the comparisons. And if required, so we can make adjustments on the item record. So this is about the physical inventory worksheet. The other report that we have is a current inventory snapshot report. Again, we have to go into reports, inventory and item. Here we have the current inventory snapshot. So this what happens? This report is used to monitor the inventory levels, and it also helps to determine the schedule of orders. That is, if there is any reorder point, any preferred stock level, or we can identify the overstocking of any item. So we can view the various levels of inventory with the help of this report. Here we can see that this is, for subsidiary Canada, locations selected all. So under Canada, we have these two locations, that is 11 Canadian warehouse and US locations. So these are the two locations that are there for subsidiary Canada. If we want to select any one of it, so we can select it from this filter. So what happens under the current inventory snapshot, as we have discussed earlier, there are so many uh, jargons or terms that are used with the stock level quantities, that is reorder point, preferred stock level, on hand quantity, on order quantity, quantity committed, quantity to order, and so these are all the various terminologies that are used here. So we can see that for cordless drill, 20-week cordless drill, the on-hand quantity is 153, and for Canadian location, and for US location, it is shown as -3. And to order quantity is shown with the plus value. And at the end, we have the total of both these locations. However, I mean, so the total of all the locations quantity would be visible under the total columns, and it is followed by certain points, as we have to check the inventory level under the current inventory snapshot. So we have the preferred stock level. So what is preferred stock level? So this is the optimum quantity that is to maintain in stock of an item, and to fulfill the orders, the quantity that is required is a preferred stock level. It means that under the preferred stock level, we have to maintain a certain an optimum level of quantity that is required to fulfill the order to the customer. So right now there is no preferred stock level for any item. We can see that only the quantity on hand and quantity on order and quantity committed is shown here under all the moves for most of the items, and the total of these two locations, since these two locations are there for Canada, so it is visible under the total. If I take some other subsidiary here, like if I take here Mexico, so here we can see that the subsidiary Mexico has these two locations, that is Amazon Mexican office and US Rocky Mountain Sea. So the quantity levels usually in this subsidiary also, we have the quantity on hand visible over here. Here we can see. And to order quantity is also there. It means that to order quantity is the quantity that is required to be fulfilled to the order. So in this way, we can have the current inventory snapshot. After this, the other report that we have is inventory back order report. So back order is like, back orders are the if we talk about the back order quantity, so this is the quantity that are committed on sales order, but that quantity is not available in the stock. So what happens for this purpose, like the quantity that we have used on the sales order, but is not available in the stock. So for this, the replenishment process is required. So the analysis of replenishment process is there, in which, some quantities are required to be added to the stock, and we can also increase the reorder point for the items that are repeatedly on back orders. Like, with the help of this report, like if we see that some items are continuously or repeatedly appearing under the reorder under the sorry under the back order list, and it is increasing, so we have to pause it, or we have to re-continue using such items. So here we can see that under the inventory backorder report, we have these options like item name, date, what is the transaction types. Usually, this quantity is used on sales order. So the transaction type that we have is sales order. Document number is here, name of the customer. And this is the main thing that is under the inventory back order report, that is ordered, fulfilled, and back ordered. So how many quantities is ordered and how many of them is fulfilled and what remains under the back orders. So the details of it can be viewed with the help of these three options: order, fulfilled, and back ordered. These are the main concern in the inventory back order report. So, this report helps in analyzing the proper replenishment needs. Like, if some item has a very continuous and repeated reorder point, so we can change it as per our requirement and we can make necessary changes in order to take the better decision and in order to run our production in an efficient manner. This is for Canada. If I take other subsidiary here, so for Mexico, we have only these orders fulfilled and these orders are also back ordered. It means that back ordered means these orders are there on the sales order but is not available in the stock. So it comes under the back ordered quantity. So in this way, we can have a view of the inventory back order report. The other report that we have is inventory activity detail report. So again, we'll go into reports. Here we have the inventory activity detail report. So it consists of the items that are used to identify the various trends that are used in sales, and what kind of decisions can be taken based on it. So you can see that this is for subsidiary Canada, and we have only one column for quantity, that is quantity only. So this is the available quantity that is there for this Canadian subsidiary, and the transaction type by which this quantity has arrived is there, like the this 100 quantity that you can see comes with the inventory worksheet, and you can see if I hover over it, here we have the option of view transaction report record. So here it has taken me to the inventory worksheet that has been adjusted. So this is the inventory worksheet. We'll go back to the report. So here, under the transaction type, we can see that from which transaction or from which source this quantity has arrived. This is the cash sales. That is why it is showing with the negative value of -2. And then we have the item receipt, and item fulfillment is there since the quantity is moving out of the inventory. So it is showing with the negative marking -3. And as we are receiving it into our inventory, so it is showing with this positive ones. So here we can have the various sales trend or various, kinds of a transaction type, like from which transaction type we are, having this quantity available with us. So this is about the inventory activity details. The last report that we have under the inventory level is inventory pending fulfillment report. So under the item pending fulfillment report, we can have all the sales order that are open. It means that their fulfillment is still pending. They are open, but their fulfillment is pending. They are required to be fulfilled yet. So we can have that the view of these reports. And as per the information given over here, we can do the required. We can take the required actions, like some if some orders are required to be fulfilled, so we can fulfill those orders. But from here we can have the view of it only. As as of other reports, as of other financial reports, these reports, these inventory reports can also be customized. With the help of this customize option, we will be under customization, we can change the layout, we can edit the layout of our reports, we can add columns, and if we want to remove certain columns, so we can remove it. So in this way we can customize our report, but we have to save the customized report first, as if we have made certain changes in it. So this is about the pending fulfillment report. Here we can have all the sales order that are opened and that are yet to be fulfilled. So we can view it, and further we can make the required fulfillment of it. So for item pending fulfillment also, we have these three important things, that is ordered, fulfilled, or committed. So you can see the quantity that is appearing under the ordered one is also appearing under the committed one. And you can see that this transaction has fulfilled, it has, total 65 quantity ordered, out of which it has fulfilled only 60. So it is coming under the fulfilled items. Oh, sorry, fulfilled tab. So in this way, we can have the item pending fulfillment report. So this is about the inventory level. Now we'll see the uh, reports by which we can value our inventory. So I have told you that inventory values helps to identify the actual worth of the inventory and the profitability as well. So here we have only three reports, that is inventory profitability report, inventory valuation report, and inventory revenue report. So first we will see how the inventory profitability report looks like. We'll go into reports, inventory item. Here we have the inventory profitability report. So as its name suggests, inventory profitability report. So it consists of, all the profit margins that are there. So here you can see that some columns are given over here. That is the quantity that is sold. What is the total cost of this item, and what are the total revenues? We can take this total revenue as sales here, because sales are equals to revenue. Then if any revenue is there, so there must be some percentage of it that can be available here. And when we deduct the cost from the sales, we will have the gross profit, and the percentage of that GP or gross profit is also available here. So this is about the inventory profitability report. It shows us the cost, revenue, and the profit that has been generated for any particular period will be available over here. And this report is viewed to determine the margins on the items and to identify how many items are there that are, that have the most or the least profitability. So we can view those items that have the highest or that have the lowest profit margin, with the help of this inventory profitability report, as its name suggests us. So in this manner, we can have the profitability of our inventory with the help of this report. It can be customized also. It can be exported into the various options. If we want to change the subsidiary, we can change it. So we can have the various margins of our profit with the help of inventory profitability report. The next report for the purpose of valuation is inventory valuation report. Here it is. So this inventory valuation report summarizes the value of inventory at a specific point of time. and it helps to identify the various areas in which we can we can, how can we streamline our inventory. So it will provide us the total value of our inventory, and here we can see this is the value of the inventory, and this is the percentage of that value, and the quantity on hand that is available for this item is also available here. But as the name suggests, this inventory valuation summary, so it provides us the value of any item, and the variance, sorry, and the percentage of that inventory value is also available here under this report. So it helps, if we can very well view it and analyze it, like which item has the highest inventory value, and how can we streamline that item based on our requirements. So we can very well do that with the help of this inventory valuation summary report. So this is the summarized view of our inventory valuation report. If we want to have a detailed view of it, so here we can see that, like, from which transaction it has arrived is already sorry, is also available here. If we get into the detail of it, document number is here, date is here, the quantity that is available is here, per unit value, and the total inventory value is also here. So in this way we can have the detailed view of our inventory valuation report. Here we can see that this inventory, the transaction type that is here is in item receipt, item fulfillment. So from these transaction types, these values has arrived. I'll go back to summary. So this is the summarized form of our inventory valuation report. The last report that we want to see is inventory revenue report. So we'll go into reports, inventory and items. Here we have the inventory revenue report. So as its name suggests, like we have the inventory profitability report that shows us the profit. So it is concerned with the revenue. It shows us the total sales amount and overall revenue from the inventory items. And we can identify, with the help of this report, we can identify items that have low sales, and they are not generating good amount of revenue. So we can very well view such kind of items, and we can also pinpoint those which, which are having the high sales and which are generating a good amount of revenue for the business. And we can maintain such kind of items into our stock, and we can change the prices of them as per our requirement. So under the inventory revenue report, we can have the view of all the total sales, and with the help of such view or such reports, we can make necessary changes, like the sales that have low amount of profit, so we can change its status. And we can also have a view of those items that are generating more sales into the business, that are generating more revenues. So here we have these three options, like the quantity that is sold, total revenue, and percentage of that revenue. So these things are available into our inventory revenue report. Again, this is a summarized form. If we want to have a view, if we want to have a detailed view of it, so we can view it. Here we can see that from these transactions that has the revenue has arrived, like from cash sales, this $2,000 has arrived. Again, if I click on it here, you can see that I have hovered over here, so it will take me to the cash sale page. So in this way, we can have the revenue detailed report that provides us the detail of all the revenues, and we can analyze it based on our requirements. So we are done with our inventory reporting. So these are the various reports that have been used, and they are based on they can be assessed with the help of inventory levels and inventory valuations, of which the stock ledger is the most important one. After that, in order to see the proper valuation of inventory, we can have the inventory profitability report, inventory valuation report, and inventory some revenue report. Along with that, we have some other reports also, with the help of which we can very well analyze the quantities available and the other required quantities, and we can take the very informed decisions that are required for the business. So today we are done with the inventory status, how the inventory status can be created, how, why, in what scenarios we can change the status, and how the inventory can be transferred by using the one-step transfer or by using the transfer orders. After that, we have seen how the reporting of the inventory is done, which is the, ultimate, the reporting is the ultimate aim of any workflow process. So today we are done with the inventory part. Hope you people find it useful. In case of any doubts and consultations, you can write to us at www.bispsolutions.com. Thank you so much.